Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crash Zoom. I'm Sammie Purcell, Associate Editor with Rough Draft Atlanta, and I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Aaron Strand. How you doing today, Aaron?
I'm doing all right. Getting over a little cold from last week. We'll see how the voice holds up throughout our time here. But I'm excited to talk. I'm starting to get that little tingling sensation that summer's about to be over.
I think it's it's only August, barely August.
Yeah, but I am not a summer guy. Okay, I am not.
That tracks, I think.
It is my least favorite season by far. Like, it's so overrated. Summer is overrated. I don't like being hot. I don't like getting sunburned. I don't like the pool. I don't like the beach.
Oh.
I'm a vegetarian. I don't like cookouts. I don't like mosquitoes. And I am incredibly sweaty. So all these things are really working against summer. And yeah, that's my take. Summer's overrated. Come at me.
I like summer, but that's because I like pools. So I like any place where I can submerge myself into a body of water. That's pretty much what I'm into.
Well, Sammie and I were talking a little bit off mic about, all these things that happen when you become a parent and how the lameness that happens to you as a parent, it's not by choice. The child is forcing you into lameness. Okay. And this is how I feel about pools, because I am now at a pool every weekend of my life, because my daughter needs to learn how to swim. And if she doesn't learn how to swim, she is going to die potentially. And she's got to get those reps in. But I do not want to sit in a pool of child piss for hours on end. If I find it disgusting, I find it abhorrent. And yet there I am for hours every Saturday. This is my life.
Yeah, I totally get that. But I'm just a pool person. I'm a lake person. I'm an ocean person. I was at the beach a couple weeks ago and I was like, let me just live in the water. I'm never leaving this water. I'll never go back.
Let me revise because I know my wife is going to listen to this and she's going to come at me so hard. I love the water at the beach, but crossing the beach to get to the water and then coming out of the water and having to sit in the sand, those are barriers that almost make the water not worth it. But I do love getting in that sweet, sweet salt water.
Yes, I don't mind the sand so much, but I am just I don't know. I really love the ocean. I agree that here, at least, I have only recently become a super sweaty person. I don't know if I'm just drinking more water. I have no idea what's going on. So for the past couple summers, I have been has this been what everyone has felt like all these years? And I was like, oh, you guys are babies. But now, I get incredibly sweaty, incredibly fast.
What happened? Is this a climate change phenomenon? Or did you get bit by a radioactive mosquito? What's going on?
That made me sweaty. I have absolutely no clue. I do definitely drink more water than I used to, but I don't know if there's a direct correlation to that.
I would be shocked. Someone knows the science behind you turn 30 and you become sweaty.
You start sweating all the time. Which maybe that's true. I don't know,
Oh man. Right. Well, as a lifetime sweater, welcome to the club. I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for you. It's a terrible existence.
It really sucks. Today has been really nice though. I was able to run and it wasn't I have to get up at 6 a.m., to do it. It was great. Well, this is a podcast where we don't always talk about being sweaty, but we do always talk about movies and the film industry. So here on Crash Zoom, what Aaron and I like to do is take a look at what's going on in the film industry on a big picture level and try to figure out why that matters to the independent artist. And if you listen today and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also watch us on YouTube at Crash Zoom Podcast. Be sure to rate and review as well. That really helps us out. But today, our topic for the day, I'm pretty excited about. We are talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, the phenomenon that keeps on growing. So I'm excited. We're going to get into it. Aaron didn't watch it. That's okay. He is a child. He has a lot going on. And I didn't watch a South Park episode, so I think we're even. So this article that I'm kind of honing in on here, or the one that I put in our doc, is a Business Insider article that is basically kind of trying to figure out or positing how Netflix can kind of become the end all be all for family entertainment. Like basically blowing up Disney's spot is sort of what this article we're looking at is kind of positing. And just for a little context on K-pop Demon Hunters, it has been ranked in the top 2 of the streamer's global movie charts in each of the 5 weeks since its mid-June debut, including back-to-back weeks in the top spot. Now, you might say, like, okay, who cares? I look at the Netflix top 10 right now and I don't recognize any of these things except Happy Gilmore. But I did hear about K-pop Demon Hunters, and I think it'll be interesting to talk about like why this particular thing, out of all the like slop, sorry to say, that can end up in the Netflix top 10, like why did this thing sort of pop off? And I did watch it, and I think part of that is that it's not slop. But anyway,
Can
so
you can you
as,
can you can you before you continue, can you jump in
yeah,
and give the audience a brief sort of logline synopsis of what is
okay.
K-pop Demon Hunters?
I mean, it really is sort of right there in the name. Like, so K-pop Demon Hunters. It was directed by I want to say Maggie Kang and Chris Applehans. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But it's about a trio of K-pop stars who also fight demons. Like that is kind of literally the plot. And the mythology kind of beyond behind it is that there have always been kind of singers throughout kind of Korean culture who have had the power to fight demons with their voices. There's a really cool kind of sequence at the beginning where they go back in time and kind of show all the different iterations and different genres, I guess you could say, of these singers and these musicians. And now they're K-pop stars. And there's like a demon king who has been trying to defeat them for eons, basically. And his newest sort of weapon, I guess, is a K-pop boy band who are actually demons who like come to the world and mind control, take over everyone and make them feel bad about themselves. The message of this movie is to like basically not be scared to share your trauma with the world and everyone will accept you for who you are, which is a nice message for children, I feel like. But yeah, so that's sort of the log line. It really is all there in the name. They're K-pop stars and they fight demons. And I think so I watched this morning and I do think like the real kind of catchy thing for this for me, or like the stickiest thing about this movie for me, is I think it looks pretty cool. And also the songs are like certified bangers. Like it's a straight up musical, which I didn't really expect. Like it's not just like, you know, kind of reminded me of Turning Red a little bit with the boy band aspect. It's not just like there's a boy band and they have a hit song and you hear the hit song sometimes and maybe there's one performance. It's like a straight up musical where they're singing while they're kicking demon ass and like there's a love song because there's like a forbidden romance between like one of the K-pop girls and a demon K-pop boy. So it's like a full blown musical, which I think is like part of the reason probably why this Business Insider article is sort of like making the Disney comparison, because that's sort of what Disney cut its teeth on, right? Like family friendly musical animated films with like great songs is sort of like, I guess, the log line there. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I had a good time. I think it would be like, I texted most of my friends who have kids and was like, yeah, I think this would be fun to watch. The demons aren't that scary. You know, they look kind of silly. So yeah, it was fun.
Well, I love to hear it. I'm
Yeah.
honestly I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I do
Hmm.
believe on a previous episode I might have referred to this as uh uh I think I called it like K fart demon shit or something. I'm not surprised that this is a quality
Yeah.
film.
Hmm.
Okay, first of all, this Business Insider article, this is like a non-article.
I
I
know.
think you using the word that it posits anything is generous. This is pure Netflix agenda propaganda. And actually, like a
Hmm.
quick search of previous Business Insider articles discussing Sony films released through Netflix reveals that these corporations have some sort of like either overt connection or underhanded connection, because this is like nothing but pure puff pieces coming from
Right.
Business Insider when discussing Sony films and association with Netflix, which really then ties into the next thing. So like, is this a Netflix film? Yes, sort of. It's released on Netflix. It's a
Also
Netflix
Sony
exclusive
film.
streaming,
Yeah.
but this is a Sony film. And
Hmm.
when it comes to Sony animation, I think that they maybe do it more consistently than anybody else. Another
Mm,
Netflix release from a few years ago, I love Mitchell's versus the Machines. I thought Mitchell's versus the Machines was
yeah.
a wonderful movie, pure Sony animation. Also, when it comes to, all of the Spider-Verse movies,
Spider-Verse
like so,
movies, yeah.
yeah, like Sony Animation really is crushing it now, and they kind of feel fresher and more cutting edge than any of your traditional players, Disney, Illumination, DreamWorks, what have
Mhm.
you, Pixar certainly. And because those companies have become so risk averse with their releases that it's either endless sequels and derivations upon sequels, or with, as we saw earlier this summer with Ilio, Pixar's tripping all over itself as it
Right.
like ties itself into knots with sort of social issues and fears, and they can't get their story straight about what this movie's even supposed to be. It's just a disaster.
Yeah, I picked this article because I kind of just wanted to talk about this movie, and it popped up in the dailies at one point, and I couldn't find like any other article that wasn't like basically just an explanation of like how popular the film is to sort of like talk about it. And I wanted to kind of talk about why it's sort of popping off. And I do think, while I think you're right about this article in essence, I do think like just the idea of like what are the sort of business plans for these type of movies, like why did Sony like decide to go to Netflix for this particular film, and it is so popular when they have something like Spider-Verse that also does well in theaters. So I like the strategy, I think, of like child pointed entertainment is what's sort of like interesting to me here, if that makes sense, because I don't
For
really
sure.
know
No,
if I have those answers.
well, I do find it kind of weird. Now, Netflix clearly
Hmm.
recognized the quality of this film because they did give it
Yeah.
a limited, 5 days in a New York and LA theater to qualify
Right.
them for the Academy Awards,
Hmm.
trying to get on the nomination ballot for Best Animated Feature, like, come awards season,
Hmm.
which is pretty, Netflix's typical Craven move. But I do think it's a little weird from Sony that they did not trust a theatrical release. But, it's so weird. There's all these conflicting sort of carrots and sticks with the kid film specifically. And now
Hmm.
that summertime is hotter, it's harder to play outside. Summertime is like becoming more like wintertime. As a parent of a young
Right.
child, like summer is so hot that there are large stretches of the day where you can't go outside. Like it's
Hmm.
not safe to be outside for that prolonged period of time. And so we
Hmm.
are looking for entertainment of things to do with our kids in an air conditioned space. Um, but the problem is that especially if you have multiple kids, going to the movies is
It's
now
expensive.
like, if it's you, two kids, maybe your spouse or another adult to like help keep
Hmm.
track of them, maybe they have their own kid or whatever, you're looking at $120 when you factor in the concessions,
Snacks
and
and all
plus
that
the
stuff.
snacks are a
Yeah.
bunch of crap that you maybe don't want to give your kid or whatever. Um, it's also a big risk because you might get in the theater and your kid could get scared. You might have to leave. So
Right.
it's a tough value proposition to get kids in the theater. So I kind of understand why they went for the home entertainment angle with Netflix, and
Hmm.
plus Netflix has done right by them with some of their animated releases before. So that part makes sense to me.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that makes it. I didn't really think about the kind of connection that they've had beforehand, I guess. I don't know. It's just interesting to me that, like, it's a sort of another example, I guess, of Netflix moving into the child based arena, which we've been talking about a lot over kind of the past few weeks. I am curious as to, like, why do you think, like, I mentioned kind of Netflix's top 10 and how like I don't even know what it is right now. I could look, but like last time I looked, it was like this movie, Happy Gilmore 1 and Happy Gilmore 2, and then a bunch of stuff I'd never heard of before. And I'm curious as to like, I know why Happy Gilmore 2 is up there. Like, I'm not an idiot, I get it. But like, why did this movie, I guess, like pop off? Because I think pointing to like K pop popularity is sort of an easy answer. And obviously that has something to do with it. But there are like plenty of like I guess like Korean inspired or Korean based properties or whatever it might be, art that doesn't like really pop off in the way that this particular movie has. So I was curious, without having seen it, if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Speaking from pure ignorance, I respect Sony Animation. I really,
Okay.
really respect the work that they do. I think that I think they are the leading edge when it comes to like the big five studio animation branches right now. So I think it's just like it's probably just a good movie. You combine that with this
Mhm.
summer, these new factors in the summer. I think K-pop Demon Hunters has a really high rewatchability. Like once a kid watches a movie, particularly in the summer that they love, they're gonna rewatch it like 5 times. Which for
Mhm.
Netflix and the ease of access that Netflix has, and plus for the way that they calculate their streaming hours, total hours watched, that is like statistical crack for them. It is like such a sweet spot that they can then sell as a measurement of success for their film is the rewatchability that kids get into a loop and they want to watch the same thing over and over again. If they have a catchy song, all the better. Disney cracked this code decades ago. Like
Right.
it really, really, really works. Now, the K-pop angle, because in this Business Insider puff piece article, there are some media analysts that posit. Yeah, I have a quote here
Oh,
that
this
this is
guy, Brandon
Paul.
Katz.
No, this is Paul
Ooh,
Durgarabedian. Durgarabedian. I'm so
they're
sorry, Paul
Garabedian. I think that's right. Yeah.
Durgarabedian. Sounds like a K-pop expert if I've ever heard. And he says, quote, "The undeniable appeal of K-pop should have everyone's attention in the world of entertainment, studios, theaters, and content creators alike." Listen, I got to come out and say, the fact that we've made it to K-pop Demon Hunters on Netflix definitely means we are past peak K-pop.
I feel like K-pop has been like it's been around, buddy. Like I think
Bro,
everyone's noticed.
we're past peak. We are now on the slow grind of exploitation where we wring every dollar we can, not just from the Korean diaspora, but from the millennials and Gen
Uh-huh.
Z viewers who loved Big Bang and Blackpink and BTS and who maybe now are even having kids of their own. Like, this is
Mhm.
like, it's my generation of parents that are being targeted here. So, yeah, look, like, Korean entertainment has been so ascendant in America for a long time now. But I got to
Right.
say it's past the point of feeling like really novel and fresh. And also time and time again it has proven to be really tough to have staying power. You have these things that will pop up, make a big splash, be it Blackpink or Parasite or Squid Game. But the follow up, so when CL left back Blackpink and tried to brand herself as a solo artist in America, didn't work. Mickey
Right.
17 did not work. Squid
Mhm.
Game subsequent seasons, not the phenomenon that Squid Game one was. So there is a consistent sort of trend of Korean entertainment that bursts onto the scene, but the staying power, the sort of the franchisability of these either artists or and it also comes from the fact that like especially when you come to the K-pop space, like the thing that draws you in is really like the machinery of it all. Like it's so impressive, the kind of
Right.
like the the training and the studios and the branding and
It's
the
crazy.
vertically integrated entertainment system. And
Mhm.
yeah, that can translate to where like you become a diehard fan of BTS and like, do the boy band thing, but like does that do those artists keep getting the same attention once BTS is over? Uh,
I don't think
uh,
so because that's not what the
no.
point of it is, right? Like
No.
and like the American boy band system is like not quite it is crazy. I don't want to like say it's not or like the western I should say cuz like One Direction isn't American, I guess, but like usually and One Direction is like a little different. I feel like they've all had like kind of okay solo careers, but there's like one really famous person from One Direction, and it's Harry Styles. And it was kind of like
Right.
pinpointed that way while they were still together, right? And like
Right.
probably the same with like Justin Timberlake from, you know what I mean? Like like they all had kind of like one guy. And with BTS, like I personally am not like I don't consider myself a K-pop expert, but I don't know if like the apparatus works that same way where they like pinpoint one guy who's like a star who has enough like staying power to like break away and have a real solo career because it does seem like such a group based apparatus and they can like roll people through and like, switch people in and out and all this stuff. Like it just seems like a completely different type of machine.
Sure. And like real
Yeah.
K-pop heads will like come for us, cuz like
Sure,
Big Bang
I'm sure. Please. I have
big
like no idea. Please
big
educate me.
like I really enjoyed Big Bang like 10 years
Mhm.
ago, which was like the precursor to BTS. And I enjoy and respect G Dragon solo career coming out
Okay.
of Big Bang. In fact, me and my wife and a friend of ours, we went and saw G Dragon solo a concert in Atlanta a number of years ago, which was hilarious that I was there. And 'cause there was a lot of like very excited young women, and I was in the back. And anyway, so like, I mean, it's possible, but I do think that the the fact that this is coming from a country that is thousands of miles away, that is made accessible by the internet, I do think that like the consistent sort of building, the just the sequel, the franchise ability has proven to be difficult, and I think that's like kind
Yeah.
of undeniable from the numbers. So when you have analysts like proclaiming like, I think everyone needs to pay more attention to K-pop as like sort of like their next franchise, I don't really know if the numbers bear that out. I think that's a little bit of like consultant bullshit.
Right. Well, and I think it's also like another kind of example that the world is paying attention is this is like an American movie. Maggie Kang, I believe, was born in Seoul but grew up in Canada. And it has like obviously a lot of like South Korean voice actors and Korean American voice actors, but it is like it was, made in English first, and I believe a South Korean, like a Korean dub was made later. So I
That's a
think
great
that is
point.
also like interesting is that like this is not a movie from South Korea. It is like an American produced film.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Now, I want to pivot to the other aspect of this article, which is talking about Netflix's long-standing proclamation that they want to dominate the family space. In
Yeah.
2021, Reed Hastings, billionaire investor in Netflix, declared that they want to beat Disney in family animation.
Mhm.
And it is such a mischaracterization to say that K-pop Demon Hunters' success is really meaningful towards that goal. One of the things about the Netflix like fire hose approach to content creation is that it's very easy to focus in when like they spray so much spaghetti at the wall. It's very easy to focus on the piece that sticks. But like
Mhm.
no one even remembers the flops such as like do you remember any of these titles, some of these flops that they've had in the animation
Let's
sphere?
see.
The Sea Beast, Over the Moon, or Spellbound.
The Sea Beast, the name sounds familiar, but I can't say I watched it, and I don't remember any of
all
the others. So,
all of these were movies that were directed by or created by high level talent that they poached from Disney and or Pixar. All of them forgettable flops that have just
yeah.
disappeared into the algorithmic wind like so much dust. So to say that like K-pop Demon Hunters is Netflix like turning the corner, I find that a pretty inaccurate sort of narrative. I mean, Netflix is still crushing it like across the board. We're always like, I feel like we spend so much time on this show like trying to nitpick Netflix as they continue their march of domination. But in this regard, I think that is a pretty far fetched story to spin.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's also just like you're basing this off of one like extremely popular thing, right? Like it's not it'd be different if it was like one in a long string of something like this happening, but it is one thing. Maybe let's cool the jets a little bit,
Yeah.
prognosticators.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. Well, all this to say is that I am excited to watch K-pop Demon Hunters. I think this might be a fun
Yeah.
thing for me and my wife to watch.
Mhm.
Maybe my daughter too, but honestly, me and my wife might put it on one night because we like watching animated stuff together. And
Yeah, it's a lot of
and
fun.
yeah, and like shouts out to Sony. Like Sony is such like a forgotten player in the in the most Hollywood discussions. They're the only major studio, quote unquote, that doesn't have their own streaming service. They like their overall content strategy is baffling to say the least. But they have consistently for the last 10 years really churned out some amazing animated films,
Yeah,
and at a time that are original, at a time when Disney, Pixar, Illumination just cannot get out of their own way. And so I think we should
right.
really recognize Sony Animation and Gold Star. Gold
Yeah.
Star from Crash Zoom.
Good job, everybody. Go Sony. So many animation.
Well, this has been great, Sammy. Besides K-pop Demon Hunters, tell me, what have you been watching this week?
Well, I've been having a lot of fun. Kind of a very little list. I rewatched Freaky Friday for the first time in eons because I'm going to see the new one for work tonight, actually. And I have
Nice.
to say, like, delightful. Like
Still
an
hits?
easy, yeah, still hits. It's funny. It's like 1.5 hours. There's some weird kind of light Orientalism. Hopefully they fix that in the new one. But like Lindsay Lohan is great, Jamie Lee Curtis is great. It's just kind of like this just two funny people being funny. It's got a lot more like kind of slapsticky stuff than I remember, which I quite enjoyed. Yeah, it was kind of a weekend of comfort movies for me. I also rewatched Notting Hill, which was kind of soothing, but I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy. It's great. So
Awesome.
yeah, my weekend is full of kind of soothing comfort movies. How about you?
That's cool. Not a whole lot, but I did last week. I like I said, I got sick, and at the sort of like peak of my sickness, you know how I like you remember like when I had like terrible jet lag and I just had this like
Yes,
itch to watch Sorcerer. Well, I
I
got
do.
another itch. I got another like wild hair up my ass. And
Okay.
I had never watched this movie before, but I had to watch Michael Mann's Miami Vice. It just like
Aaron, a perfect film.
it just lodged in my head. I was like, the time has come. I have to watch it. It was also on Criterion. And
Mhm.
I remember when this movie came out and I was in my budding cinephilia and I saw the title Miami Vice. I saw Colin Farrell, Jamie Foxx. I just
Mhm.
thought this is what a load of shit. This has to be like the dumbest movie ever made. Never
So
watching it and I had never watched it.
oh my god.
It was delightful. Yet
It's
another thing that
perfect.
high
It's
school
so good.
Aaron was wrong about. I don't know if it's perfect, but I will say,
Hola,
dude,
chica.
that movie is fucking gorgeous. I loved
Mhm.
everything about it, the feeling, the vibe of the whole movie. I think there's like an article where Harmony Korine describes it as like the most expensive art film ever made. He is not wrong. Obviously,
Mhm.
as a big fan of like you know, somewhat primitive digital video techniques, so like the fact
Right.
that like it's so much of it is shot at night, fuck noise reduction like across the board.
I
There's
know.
noisy shadows everywhere, like high
Mhm.
digital grain in all of the shadows. I love it. I love the
Yeah.
texture. I love the feeling of the movie. It's also like something that I should hate because that movie is like peak humorlessness. There's only
Oh.
one joke in the entire movie, and it's when Jamie Foxx is having sex with the woman, with his wife or the woman he loves. He pretends to come early and
I
then
think
is
that's
like
Naomi Harris, if I'm
and
not
then he's like,
mistaken.
just
Yeah.
kidding. And then he like keeps going. That's the one joke in the whole fucking movie.
Pretty
But
funny.
for being such but you know what it really brought into relief is that like once upon a time we were a proper country. Once upon a time we had movies that took themselves too seriously, and then you could
Mhm.
offset that with movies that were insanely goofy and full of slapstick stuff. Now we have these action movies and all these Marvel movies that are constantly trying to make self-referential jokes to prove that they
Right.
don't take themselves so seriously, and they're constantly doing their own meta commentary on themselves. Ugh, fuck that. I miss a takes itself too serious caper of a film. Miami Vice
Mhm.
was it. And my God, what a joy to prove yourself wrong and just find a movie that just fucking rips.
Aaron, I don't know if you knew this about me, but I'm a fiend for mojitos. Love them.
Well, I know where you can get the
I
best mojitos.
think I think that movie is so strangely romantic. Like, I think Colin Farrell and Gong Li have such weird chemistry, but it works.
Agreed.
I
I saw all
love
this
it. It's so
hatred
good.
online for Gong Li. I
Oh,
thought she was
she's
great. What
wonderful.
was
I
the
do think,
hatred?
if I'm not mistaken, she delivered that like, she had to, like, learn her lines, like, phonetically? Is that the word? I can't remember what the word would be,
Yeah.
but, like
I like because she's
like
a non-English speaker.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
"What
wouldn't be
the fuck?
surprised.
How did she do that?" Like, I just think, like, her performance and them together, like, them on that speedboat is amazing,
Uh,
but,
the
like,
speedboat going to
it's
Cuba
so
for
good.
mojitos.
So good. I love that movie. It's so wonderful.
Dude, that movie's awesome. And it just
Mhm.
it's the type of movie that you feel. Like talk
Yeah.
about sweaty. Like I was
Oh,
sweating
yeah.
because I
I mean,
felt
Colin
like I
Farrell's
was in
like
Miami.
I was like, Colin Farrell and, like, he's sober now, shout out to him. I think he's, like, often said he, like, does not really remember making that film. He's like a sentient walking piece of cocaine, like, like, it's so wild.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that movie
Ugh.
feels like it. The movie feels
Yeah.
dangerous.
Mhm.
And also just to see some incredible like practical explosions or
Mhm.
like real practical action, but again, shot in this incredibly artistic, digital camcorder type way with it's super cutty and handheld and
Yeah.
there's little manual zooms and stuff and man, it just oh god, it's just a movie that just gets into your gut and I'm
Yeah.
like it was the perfect movie to watch for me that night and dude, I think like that's the first time I've actually like had a Michael Mann awakening. I'm not
Oh,
a Michael Mann
wow.
man.
Yeah. Not a man for
Uh
Michael Mann.
I'm not a man for Michael Mann, but I think I might be now.
Yeah. Miami Vice will do that to you. All
Yeah.
right. I think that's all we got for this week, but thanks everyone for listening. Shout out to all you guys.
I will hopefully see you, anyone listening in Athens, Georgia. I hopefully will see you at Cine on Thursday, August 7th for our Behind the Slate screening of Godzilla. Tickets are available now. It starts at 8 p.m. It's going to be super fun. Will be a podcast before the film, audience discussion afterward, the whole shebang. It'll be great. Sammie, until later in the week, I will talk to you. And until then,
I'll talk to you. See ya.
bye-bye.
Bye.